All righty. Just getting, there we go. Okay. Hey, everybody. Come on in. I'm going to give you a second to get in the room. Oh, my goodness. So much has happened. So much has happened. Good morning. I want to take a minute to go live today to kind of talk a little bit about what has happened, what has transpired over the past 24 hours. As I'm waiting for you all to come in the room, I'm going to say welcome. And first of all, I want to take a second to say welcome to all my new followers. I am so excited to have you in this space. Excited to have you here. So much has happened in the past 24 hours. Please share this stream. Share this stream if you can. If you're watching me on Facebook, on even LinkedIn, all the spaces. Welcome to those of you who are watching me on Instagram. Hey. Good to see all of you all. Over the past couple of weeks, I have a lot of new friends. So welcome to you. So good to have you here. But today I kind of wanted to get caught up on all that's transpired over the past 24 hours because, as you know, it's been a whirlwind of activity. This level of just plain lawless oppression is going all out. And it's interesting because I find it interesting to see how the rest of the world is now being introduced to the America that we've always knew. Doesn't make it right, but we've been here and we've lived here for centuries. So we're at a place now where everyone else is seeing what we've always seen, when other people are experiencing what we've always experienced. And we're at a space where, honestly, this government is playing for keeps. So first of all, I kind of want to start off by really taking a second to review what we know has happened in the past 24 hours, less than 24 hours, it feels like, or maybe 24 hours. And where we are now and what we need to do moving forward. How does that sound? Okay. So welcome. Feel free to give me a shout out in the comments. I definitely will give you one as well. I think this should be more of a dialogue versus a monologue. So I want to hear what you're thinking. where you're at, what you're looking to do. Because this is going to take all of us to make a change here. And first and foremost, I want to especially say, I recognize all of these warriors in Minneapolis. Because what you're doing right now is necessary. It's historic. And when I think about what happened yesterday, it really, once again, angers me. Here we are again. So this time, the person who was at the other end of the executioner's bullets was Alex Prady. And what really gets me about this particular murder is the fact that, I don't know this person. Most of the world have never heard of him before this happened. But you can tell from the last moments of his life that he must have been a good man. He must have been a good human being. Because there he was, seeking to protect a woman in the last seconds of his life. He lost his life because after witnessing a woman getting pushed in the back, knocked over on her back, he goes to try to protect her. He goes to try to shield her body from a grown-ass man who is pushing her to the ground, only to get a face full of gas, chemical agents sprayed right at him, followed immediately by being gang tackled by at least 5 to 6 other grown men. And then one pulls out a holstered firearm, which was licensed, in which he was licensed to carry, which is legal to do in that state. And I'm wondering, where the hell are all these Second Amendment people that we hear every time there's a school shooting? Where the hell are they? Where the hell are all these Second Amendment people that were talking about how all these January 6ers were absolutely right doing what they did? Where the hell are all these Second Amendment people who are talking about Kyle and how he was perfectly fine to shoot people dead, shoot a man dead during a peaceful protest? Kyle Rittenhouse. These Second Amendment people are mighty quiet. Mighty quiet. Mighty quiet. Now let's go through this one by one. What I find very, very interesting about this latest atrocity. Within minutes, did you see how quick the propaganda began? Did you see how quickly the story was composed? Did you see how quickly they came up with the lies? When will America get fed up? That's a very good question, Linda. I have no idea. But who knows? You know, this might be a turning point, because we talked a lot about, golly, just a few days ago, when we saw the previous murder, how, oh my goodness, we're shocked that they killed a white woman. But you know what? She was also, honestly, let's be very clear, she was a lesbian. So on their hierarchy, she was not of value. On their hierarchy, she was not given the full cloak and protection of white womanhood. I guarantee you that. This time, though, they've killed a white man. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But I find it interesting, though, how quickly they came up with the lie. One thing I can tell you about this regime is they are a propaganda machine that is on it. They are on it. They waste no time. They spin the lies, they spin the fairy tale, they push it out through their own ecosystem. And you might be wondering, why be so bold as to be so blatant with the lies when we actually have the video evidence? Why would you do that? Why would you say that he was brandishing a firearm? Why would you say that he came there to murder all of these ICE officers? Why would you say that he was, risking, fire, being so combative and trying to murder all of these ICE officers? Why would you come up with such a fantastical tale when we all have 50 bazillion now video angles? It's more than one video that's showing this, and none of these videos shows anything like that. You might wonder, why would they do it? Why would they lie so blatantly? It's for two reasons. It's not only because they can, which is reason number one, but reason number two, they don't need the truth for their nefarious purposes. You see, they have their own media ecosystem. And what they're doing is producing the talking points that will be dispersed through their echo chamber to their minions, to their cult, so that their cult has something to believe. And their cult has already been taught not to believe what's in front of their freaking eyes. They've been taught only to believe what their leader and his minions tell them to believe. It's very interesting. Like, I've already had one of those minions in my inbox talking about, well, you can see he's going for his gun. Oh, really? You can see that? Because nobody else with two eyes and, working brain cells sees that. This is what a cult looks like. If dear leader doesn't say it, we don't believe it. If dear leader says it, and even if there is evidence to the contrary, we're still going to believe it. And here's what's especially disturbing, you guys. They have his camera. They have his phone. They have his video evidence, which is likely why you had Minnesota go directly to the district courts, and the district courts have already actually issued a ruling against the federal government erasing or in any way tampering with the evidence that they collected from the scene. Now, do I necessarily believe that's going to stop them from doing what the hell they want to do? No. But it's good to see that at least they're on it. I'm good. How are you today, Ronald? It's good to see that at least they're on it. It's good to see that they are being given notice that you're going to be asked to produce some evidence here. Now here's the challenge here. As they did with Renee case, they have partitioned off any sort of participation with the state and local agencies to do any sort of investigative work here, because they need time to tamper with the evidence and spin a tale. As I said, welcome to the America that we've always lived in. Because Black people know that this is the script that they've done to Black victims of police violence forever. Forever. All right? And I know technically this is ICE and not the police, but you know what I'm saying, the state. So here's what's going on right now. So they have his evidence. And what I'm concerned about, you saw what they did with the sister that they arrested from Minneapolis. And they doctored the photo of her, pushed it out to the world, distorting her face as if she was crying and snobbling and sniveling when she wasn't. If they would do that with that, ooh, I see a deer outside my window. If they would do that with that, why would they not distort any evidence that they get from his phone? We live in an age of AI. I want to warn you not to believe a damn thing you get from this government. Don't believe it. I do not believe it. If they will blatantly lie in our faces, the way they have lied in our faces in these two cases involving a white woman and a white man, supposedly, not even supposedly, historically, the privileged in the society. What makes you think that we can believe anything they will have to say around this case or anything else that they're cooking up in this government? Please know that the end game for them is not anywhere near business as usual. If you think they are in any way preparing to peacefully hand over the realms of power anytime soon, if ever, I don't know. They're going to try to keep it as long as possible, right? And so here's what we've got. They murdered this man, executed him in cold blood, 10 shots in 5 seconds. 10 shots in 5 seconds. And then they're going to start the character assassination immediately after. We've been here before. Uh, if they're otherwise killable. Now, here's what's really interesting. Well, I don't think it's not just because, well, I don't, Black people just aren't out there, Ashua. It's not that they're not touching Black people. It's just Black people are not out there as much. You know, you did see that the people that they have actually brought charges against were Black, both Black women. They tried to bring charges against Don Lemon, and the judge said they couldn't. He's Black. I mean, so it's not because they are trying to avoid Black folk. It's like we not there for the most part. Disproportionately, we're not out there, and there's a whole reason for that. But I'm just saying that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. It's very interesting. Here's one of the things I will say is very interesting about this moment too. If we want to really think about this, you all, very specifically. Absolutely, Andrew. Andrew says we're not out there. If it were, it would be more George Floyd scale. I completely agree with you. Here is the very interesting thing that I think we need to realize what's happening here. I've made the case, and I will continue to make the case that, and it's very obvious, blatantly obvious. Just look at what they're doing. Look at what they're tweeting. Look at who the people are. This is a cabal of white supremacists that are running this country right now. This is true. But also know, this is not merely a white against people of color situation. Do know that the kingpin here, Trump, is not only a white supremacist. I would argue he is a Trump supremacist. Okay. If you are not with him, he don't want any, he hates you. If you are not, and that applies to whatever color you are. So that's why he doesn't care. He's not going to care if the people of Minnesota who are protesting, who are disproportionately white, are being murdered in the street. Being white will not save them. As far as he's concerned, they don't deserve any reprieve. They deserve as much vehemence and murderous outcomes as anyone else. I mean, and once again, isn't that consistent though with how white supremacy works? Honestly, if you just look at our history from John Brown on back, okay? Whiteness who acts on behalf of the liberation of others, and specifically, obviously, I'm most proficient in Black history. White people who have acted on behalf of the liberation of Black people have also been targeted by this government, have also been murdered, have also died. I don't think it's an accident that this nation has all of these monuments to Confederate soldiers, don't have one to any white freedom fighters from the abolitionists on up. Not one. Adjacency to liberation for Black people have been a death sentence for white people for a very long time in this country. So I'm not surprised by what I'm seeing today. It's just the modern day version of that. It's the modern day version of that. So what is happening right now is, what will the rest of the country do when smacked in the face with this reality that they've been trying to forget? Because this country does an excellent job of erasing our history, even before Trump has taken that up several levels. even before the sort of, in essence, burning of our books, even before the tearing down of our displays, most recently in Philadelphia, that speaks our history, not even in this country, only in this country, but across the world too. They've been erasing our history. This specific administration has had it as a mission. And so it's not surprising to me. I mean, honestly, too many of us don't know our own history. So I definitely wouldn't expect a lot of white folks to know it in a country that does everything possible to try to erase it. You may not realize it, but you lose the assumed safety of whiteness when you ally yourself with people that white supremacists have decided that they want to eradicate. You have lost the safety that the cloak of whiteness have given you. And that makes you especially vulnerable because you don't understand. You don't understand the dangers of navigating a society in which you are always assumed to be a threat. You don't understand that. So you navigate the world in this, I wouldn't even say it's an illusion of safety. It is real safety. White people have a very different experience navigating this world, America specifically, than Black people have ever had in this country. So this assumption of safety allows you to navigate it with a level of sort of vulnerability that you don't even see as vulnerability. You just see it as normalcy. You see it as, why would they ever do anything like this to me? I'm just minding my own business. I'm not being threatening. I'm just asserting my First Amendment rights. I'm just asserting my Second Amendment rights. Why should that put my life in danger? Black people understand how dangerous that is. And what I'm saying is that this is a moment in which the world is seeing an America that we have always knew, that we have always navigated, and oftentimes unsuccessfully, because we could have rows of names of individuals, Black folk, who have not been assumed the privilege of having our Second Amendment rights respected. I mean, golly. How many of us have not had the privilege of having our First Amendment rights respected? How many of us have been beaten by a gang of people who claim to have the weight of the law in their hands and then shot and killed and then lied upon? It is normalcy. So as I'm watching the coverage of this and I'm seeing all these people shocked and appalled, I just can't get over the fact that welcome to America. Welcome to our America. Welcome to what we have always seen. Now that you are seeing this, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Because your white skin is no longer enough to protect you from it. You know what's really interesting to me? A couple of things happened. This may be different. This one may be different. This young white man, from all that we see, like I said, a good human being, his last final seconds were utilized coming to the defense of a woman who was literally being physically accosted by one of those cowards. A man who worked in a VA facility, a nurse in the ICU unit taking care of veterans, a federal worker. This young man, riddled with bullets, and then lied on seconds later. It'll be interesting to see if this will be the moment that really begins to crack open this administration to vulnerability. Here is what I am hearing. On the one hand, you have the Democrats right now who are in a position to halt funding to the Department of Homeland Security, which would be eliminating funding to ICE. This, ironically, is a bill that's coming up in the Senate next week in terms of the overall budget. And the Democrats have already said in the wake of this that they are voting against this. And if there can't be some resolution to this, which I believe what they're looking to do is just to pull it out of the budget altogether and to attack it as a very separate thing to be funded, where they can now have some power to pull some restraints on ICE. If they can't do that, then it's likely we might see another government shutdown. Okay? So get ready for that if you're a government worker. And that might happen. I mean, it could happen as soon as next week. We will have to see. Okay? On the other hand, it's very interesting. I'm hearing rumblings that there's a bit of a rift now, interestingly enough, on the Republican side between the just all gung-ho MAGA folks, the cult, the hardest of the hard of the cult, and the very, very pro Second Amendment people who are saying, now, wait now. Are you telling me that someone who is legally engaging in conceal and carry is now all of a sudden open season on those folks? We can just kill people for doing what we've been saying we want people to be able to do? Is that what we're saying now? It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Neil, thanks for bringing up that point. Midterm elections. Let's talk about that. Here's what we need to focus on, you guys, when it comes to the midterms. I think that I would be very shocked if the Democrats don't take the House. We need to do everything to make sure that they take the House and take the House by as much of a margin as possible. I'm really hoping that we have some amazing, strong, very, very bold and very, very left candidates that will get in these races and win so that we can have some more aggressive energy, okay, to put it lightly. But what I really want to focus on today, though, is the Senate, because that's going to be the much harder push, and we need both. Can somebody say BOAF, both? Okay, we need both, the House and the Senate, especially if you want to be able to successfully impeach this motherfucker, as well as, because you don't even have to stop with impeaching the president. You can impeach people who are department heads. Who wants to get rid of Kristi Noem? I know I do. I want to get rid of a lot of these folks, okay? A lot of them. His cabinet is filled with individuals who are incompetent and who are a danger to society. So let's talk about the Senate. What do we need to do? Okay. We need to win at least 4 seats in the Senate out of 9 races that are happening. We need to maintain all Democratic seats, like 4 out of the 9 that is possible. Okay. The ones that we need to really focus on, the one that is going to be probably a little tight that we really need to keep is Georgia. Okay. And I know particularly as Georgia, you got to keep Ossoff in there. Okay. So keep him there, maintain that seat. We need to maintain that. But in terms of what's happening that's up for grabs, these are the states we really need to focus on. Okay. North Carolina. We need that. Ohio is up. We need that. Other states that are up: Maine, Iowa, Texas. This is why Texas is getting so much attention, you guys, right now. Texas, Florida, Kentucky, Alaska. Those are up for grabs in this next election. Let me say that again. North Carolina, Ohio, Maine, Iowa, Texas, Florida, Kentucky, Alaska. Those are up for grabs. We need 4. We need 4. We need 4. This is going to be tight, but we need 4. I see North Carolina's in the house. I see Texas in the house. Listen, we got to win these. We got to win these. We got to win these. Even if we just won 3, okay, the Senate would be 50-50, which is not the best position because, of course, the vice president can break all ties. However, Murkowski and Rand Paul have both been shown to be willing to vote against this administration. But I don't want to leave it to them because I don't trust Fetterman. Fetterman is the biggest fucking mistake, I swear. Can't wait to get his ass out of the Senate. Lord have mercy. But listen, we need to focus like a laser on wiping these people out, wiping them out in the midterms. And I still believe, honestly, clearly, even when we impeached him, who's there? JD Vance. However, if there is one thing that we can say with full certainty about JD Vance, who once called Trump Hitler. I know everybody's probably heard that by now, but if you haven't, now you have, okay? JD Vance is someone, well, first of all, he's a prop. You know, he has his big daddy financiers who have taken him all the way from a hillbilly to vice president of the United States in record time. So I will give that to him. What I'll also say is he does not seem to be a man of conviction. He seems to be a man of convenience. He seems to be a man who will do whatever he needs to do in order to get himself in a position where he will benefit. So I believe that if it becomes extremely clear through a wave election that the direction of this administration has gone so far off base that the Republican Party is completely not only defeated, but humiliated, wiped off the political map in 2026. And if Trump gets the hell out, and honestly, we need to think about how can we get in a position. Well, let me finish this train of thought and then I'm gonna move forward. If Trump is kicked out via impeachment and he becomes president, he would be a fool. He would be a fool to go against, at least not to the degree that Trump has, anywhere near that degree, the prevailing political winds that led to his predecessor's demise. And he is too much of a pick-me for that. He's too much of a pick-me for that. He's going to go in the direction of wherever he can see he can benefit the most. So to me, the best goal here, the best scenario here is to completely politically mollywop them in 2026. Completely humiliate them in every way humanly possible in 2026, followed by getting this criminal out of the White House and all of his, all of his sort of gang of criminals that have completely surrounded him in the implementation of his work. They all need to go. And if that means that for the next 2 years we have to deal with the JD Vance, we would be dealing with him from a position of power, which is a very, very different reality than what we're facing right now. And he will bend his knees to power. He will bend. He's done it before. He will do it again. But we need to put him in that position and subjugate him to a position where he understands that he is at the will of the people and not the other way around. Hello? That is the way. That is the way. Now, I have to say, when I look at what's going on now, just understand that this is going to be a heavy lift. I mean, you have seen, in a sense that you have seen what's happened already. I don't know if you've heard this part, but Pam Bondi, that criminal over at DOJ, she has, in essence, I would describe it as giving Governor Walz a ransom note. She's giving him a ransom note. She's like, okay, we will pull ICE out, but here's what you need to do for us first. Sounding like she's taking the whole damn state hostage. Interesting that her ransom, the ransom that she wants, deals with the voter rolls. Excuse me? Excuse me. I thought you were worried about immigration. Okay. She wants Minnesota to turn over their voter rolls to the Department of Justice. Why do you think they might want that? Why do you think they might want that? Listen, they are trying already to cook the books. They are trying already because they know left to their own, left to our own devices, we about to kick their asses out of power. So they are trying every way possible to rig the election starting right now. And a big part of what they've always done, I can't remember when they haven't, with regards to rigging elections. And one could even question whether or not Trump even won this last election. There's a lot of evidence that suggests that he didn't. But even if we were going to continue to play along with the cards that we've been dealt with him being in power right now, the reality is, for years, their whole thing has been about having, well, first of all, purging voter rolls, purging as many people off the voter rolls as possible. Their whole goal is to make it difficult. It's more and more difficult for people to vote, steal people's rights in any way they can. And so one of the reasons why she's wanting to get these rolls is they're trying to purge it. They're trying to purge them. Why else would she want them? Why else? So here we are. We're in this situation with these folks who are just, they're criminals. They're criminals in every way, shape, or form. Oh, one more thing I want to say about Pam Bondi, since we're talking about Department of Justice. And let's think again about these particular murders here with Alex and Renee. For those people who keep saying that there's no difference between Republicans and Democrats, let me educate you for a second. Historically speaking, in situations like this, you would expect, and you could appeal for the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice to take over the investigation of the shooting in order to be able to come in and see as a separate party what happened here. You would expect that. And the Civil Rights Division would then be looking at not the dead person's history and trying to create some sort of case against the dead person, which is what they are doing right now with Renee. No, the Civil Rights Division would actually be investigating the people who shot the guns that killed them. That's what they would historically do. But the first priority of this administration and that head of the Department of Justice was to actually gut out the Civil Rights Division, fire all of those people who had historically been in there, focus on this issue of actually enforcing civil rights, enforcing things like not only investigating police departments for brutality allegations, but also sort of investigating the other civil rights charges that might be applicable in various situations, discriminatory charges of any sort. That's what the Civil Rights Division did historically. These folks have not only gutted out the Civil Rights Division, they've actually put together a new focus and directive of the Civil Rights Division. And their new directive is to figure out how white men have been discriminated against. So tell me once again how the Democrats and Republicans are alike. Because that shit don't sound the same to me. And now, because of that huge change, ain't nobody looking for, you notice how in both of these cases, with both Alex and with Renee, the shooter they just picked up and left the scene. They just got up and left. We ain't seen hide nor hair of them since. They haven't been charged with nothing. They ain't going to be charged with nothing, at least not at the federal level. Now, I will say that Governor Walz, to his credit, said that they will have justice. And I will say that the Attorney General of Minnesota, Bad Brother, has already pushed forward with actions investigating the Renee Good murder, and is now, I'm sure, getting his ducks in a row to do the same thing with Alex. But I'm going to tell you, this Department of Justice is not a Department of Justice. This is a Department of Injustice. So don't expect nothing from them. It has been bastardized under this administration. There is no such thing as civil rights enforcement anymore in America. So don't expect it here. The whole cabal of, honestly, it's like a criminal enterprise. It is. This entire criminal enterprise that is running this nation right now needs to be not only extradited, like really like pulled out of power, okay, at the earliest convenience that we can following this midterm election. But I would also argue this is a moment in which America finally needs to see through the imperative to make people pay for their crimes. I want to see Donald Trump in jail and all of his cabal. At some point, people need to go to jail behind this. And let me just tell you, the reason why we are here is because we've never as a nation had the balls to do this in the past. There is no reason why the traitors of yesterday, in the form of Confederates, were just fucking left off the hook. It was never done to them was typically done to traitors. In fact, they were compensated. The traitors were given reparations. And time again, we have seen how when you have the right run amok, and then you'll have the Democrats come in office and say, oh, well, let bygones be bygones in essence. Oh, that day is over. That day is fucking over. That day needs to be over. People need to go to jail. If and when we ever get our way out of this foolishness, folk need to go to jail. They need to go to jail. Absolutely. That the governor called an emergency meeting of state police command and the sheriffs of 89 of Minnesota. I'm sorry, I'm just reading what Sky is saying. You know, that's a good point, Sky. What I will say here is that he's doing what the governor has done. He has activated the state National Guard, and he's done it with the goal of protecting the citizens of Minneapolis. We'll see how that works, what's going to happen with that. The main thing that I am concerned about, though, also, I'm still concerned about the possibility of Trump enacting the Insurrection Act. That would be a little bit of a lift to do, but he's crazy enough to do it. And why wouldn't he try? I mean, the one thing that I see about Trump is that he is going to go as far as he can possibly go until he's checked. He's got to get checked before he retreats. But he will go to the very, very outer boundaries of power. He actually, I would argue, several times he's usurped the power of the presidency since he's been in. Some of it, a lot of it he's got away with, some of it he hasn't. But he's not let the bounds of law and practice that has been, commonplace in this nation to in any way constrict him. So I wouldn't put it against him to try. He can and he's trying to federalize them all over. He's trying to pull together right before I came on today, because I've just been trying to pull together as much information as I can, you guys, to be able to bring you. It looks like he is also looking to pull together National Guards from across the nation right now. We're nowhere near at the, I don't even think, you guys, unfortunately, I don't even think we're at the climax of this yet. We haven't seen the worst yet. That is my fear. That's what I'm concerned about. I don't think we've gotten there yet. And it's very interesting because, as I mentioned, he has his cult of folk, who will believe any and everything that he says. He has a very sophisticated propaganda machine that has been perfected in terms of its ability to spin up a lie, spin up a narrative, and then have it disseminated to the world and back in nanoseconds. And he has his folk brainwashed to the degree that they don't believe their eyes anymore. They don't believe their eyes. They only believe it when Dear Leader says it. But here's the good thing. Here's the good news. They are not the majority. They are not the majority. They are not. And as long as we remember that they are a very loud and tyrannical minority, then we need to recognize that the true power lies within our grasp. It is just up to us to wield it. It is up to us to first know that we have it. The biggest advantage that they have right now is that they spin this illusion as if they are indicative of most people in America. They are not. They are not. First of all, he spun this lie that he won with this big mandate, even if you believe the numbers, which let me just say, there's a lot of evidence out there that some funny business was going on with them damn numbers and Elon Musk. Let's just put that out there, okay? But even if you believe the numbers that we have, I want you to understand that he only won by a margin of maybe 2%. That if you look at the actual numbers, that Kamala Harris actually got more votes than Barack Obama did in his first election. And I am right about that. Check me if you don't believe me. So when they try to tell all these lies about how she was this horrible candidate, held to the nose, who else? Who else? Who else? The only person who has gotten more than her was actually, ironically, Biden in his run, because people were so happy to get Trump the hell out of office. Okay, in terms of Democrats. So I want you to understand that it was never any big, huge mandate. Please do understand, I honestly do believe some funny business was going on in them fucking numbers. I don't believe he's there legitimately, but he's there anyway now. So given this reality that we have to deal with, we have to remember that we have the numbers on our side. Listen, y'all, I just saw a poll number, just if you're looking at this issue of ICE, right before this even happened, okay? Even before this happened, the last polls that I saw on this said that 61% of Americans said that they had gone too far. 61%! What part of that makes him think that the majority of people are in favor of this shit? And that was before they killed a white man. Every day. The biggest advantage they have is to make you believe that you are powerless. You are not. You are not. Please make sure that in this next election, when we get to the space of having the ability to have, knock on wood, a midterm election, we need to understand the assignment. Those 90 million people who didn't vote last time, I'm still pissed. But do what you need to do this time. You can get back in the club. Those people who just want to say, oh, they're both the same, it's two wings of the same bird, wake the fuck up. Wake up. Wake up. Really? You can't see all that's happening here? You can't see all the changes? Like before this happened yesterday, I had planned to go on here and really go through all of the different things that this administration has done to specifically target Black progress. This administration has done. And now this happened. I'm gonna still do that. Not right now, because that would take me, I would go the whole rest of the day, but I'm gonna prepare for that. And maybe next week, definitely next week, I'll come back and do that. But I want you to understand, these two things are not the same. These two things are not the same. And I want to also be very clear, because yes, I can be very frustrated and upset with the Democratic Party. And I can be very disappointed that I'm not seeing as much aggression out of them as I would like to see. But it's up to us to pull them in that direction. It is up to us to form it and shape it in the way that we want it to go. Because I'm going to tell you, we don't have time to, from the ground up, honestly, we don't have time. I'm just being a realist here. We do not have time to, from the ground up, create a third party that between now and 2026 or even 2028 is going to be have the depth and the breadth and the voting power to be able to face and properly defeat the threat that the Republicans have morphed into being. They represent an existential threat to the future of this nation. And why do I care? Here's what I will say. I've had the good fortune of traveling internationally quite a great deal. I have been on the continent numerous times, love my African brothers and sisters. I've had the ability to go to, let me list them: South Africa, Ghana, Liberia, Uganda, Congo, Tanzania twice, three times, Zanzibar, as well as other places throughout the world. Here's what I want you to understand. I never really realized how American I was until I wasn't in America. I never really realized how American I was until I wasn't in America. And let me tell you what I mean by that. As a Black person, when you travel to other countries, yes, you're still perceived as Black or whatever the racial hierarchy is in that space. So for example, when I was in South Africa, I was assumed to be colored, which a lot of people who didn't understand what that girl was saying, the water dance girl, she was talking about the way race is defined in her country, okay? Even though both my parents are Black, okay? Okay, both my parents are Black, but aesthetically, I was assumed to be colored in that society. Here, I'm obviously Black, don't claim to be anything but Black, love being Black, proud of being Black, Black. Ain't mixed with shit, but Black, that I will take account of. What I see is my skin tone is a reflection of rapists from past generations. That's just a reality. So here is what I will say, though. What I'm saying is that as African Americans, when we travel to other countries, as soon as we open our mouths and people see, because oftentimes when I'm in other countries, people oftentimes will look at me and maybe assume that I'm from there. But when I open my mouth, they can tell that I am African American. Your Americanness gives you a bit of a privilege, at least it has before this fool, in those nations. And the way white supremacy works around the world is wherever you are in the world, the Black people in that culture is perceived to be less worthy than Black people who come in from other cultures. All right. And so in those spaces, I could see very clearly the privilege that the Americanness gave me, in the same way that I hope that Black people from other nations, when they come here, see that the privilege of their non-Americanness gives them in this country. And for me, the reality of that is that the nation that you are in does not want to, they don't want to admit to the degree in which their racism has been oppressive to their own people. And so to feel less racist, they are more accepting of Black people that are not from that country than they are of Black people from their own country. I've seen it consistently everywhere I've been, okay? And not just on the continent. I can talk about Germany, okay? I can talk about anywhere, London. I can talk about anywhere I've been, okay? Now, I say all that to say, what I've also seen, and this is just, maybe I'm just rambling here, but what I've also seen is that in all of those other countries, the reflection of America that I've seen in each and every one of those countries has been Black culture, Black American culture, African American culture. The rest of the world, that culture, you know, that people claim that we don't got as Black folks, that's the culture that the rest of the world sees as American. It's us. It's us. So I say that to say, that I understand that we have a very distinct culture that we have created in this country as Black Americans. It is a culture that the rest of the world craves, tries to copy, makes billions of dollars off of every year. Ask the K-pop people, they're the most recent ones. Okay? And that is who we are. We created this shit. Secondly, I have family that runs deep in this nation. I have home, I have land that my grandparents fought for and acquired and maintained when all of their neighbors around them had theirs stolen. And as persuasive as it may feel right now to just say deuces, let me just kick it up on a beach somewhere, which is very, very tantalizing. I have to say, I refuse to give them what my people fought and died for. I refuse to give over to them what is rightfully ours. So if you're wondering, like, to me, that is my investment in this nation. It's to stand here and protect what my people fought, died for, acquired. And I want to make sure we keep for my children and for my children's children. I refuse to give it to them. Refuse to give it to them. Especially knowing that my folk have been here longer than 99% of these fools around here talking all this shit. Your granddaddy just came over on the boat. Whoop-de-doo. My folks been here for generations. I ain't going no damn way. You are not going to intimidate me out of being in my home land. Never. That ain't happening. They will try it, because that's what colonizers do. They want to push you off your land so they can take it, flip it, sell it, pimp it out, acquire it, have it for their own. They ain't getting mine. They ain't getting it. But I have to tell you, we have to get to a point where we say, this is what we need to do. Now, I'll say this and then I'll let you go, because I feel like I've been yammering on forever. But let me say this. The people in Minneapolis, you are doing some amazing, beautiful, powerful work. It's just interesting to see that culture. I don't know, honestly, I don't know that I know of anywhere else in America where I hear people talk about so passionately the importance of looking out for your neighbors. Like, I feel like that is a uniquely Minnesotan cultural thing. I've not heard it anywhere. If I'm mistaken, put in the comments where you've heard it. But I've not heard it. I've traveled just even domestically in other states in this nation. I've not heard a lot of states continue to say this thing about, I need to look out for my neighbors. That is just seems to be a very, very serious thing. And when you think about what Alex did in his last moments, he was looking out for his neighbor. He was protecting that woman that he probably did not even personally know. What they are doing in Minneapolis is beautiful. It will land in the history books as the epicenter of this particular moment of a battle for the future direction of this nation. I look at what's happening there, and I feel like it's giving me a little bit of glimpses of Birmingham. I mean, it's just, this is the contemporary version of that, right? And so when I think about this, they are putting in that work. But specifically as an African American community, what I need us to do is we need to be prepared to overperform when it gets down to the elections. I want you to know that if we had turned out Black people specifically in the same proportions that we turned out for Obama in his first election, we would have a President Harris today. If that hits you right here, it should. So that tells me that we have the power to run this shit. If we show up, if we show out, if we perform at the level that we are capable of performing, if we truly flex the power that we actually have. Instead of sitting here and allowing ourselves to be lied to, distracted, undermined by these people that only pop up around election day, undermining our power. Don't you ever wonder why you never see these fools until it's around election, all of a sudden telling you how, oh boy, they both the same. Oh man, the damn, let's vote Green Party. Every time I think about it, my blood pressure goes up, I swear. It's because, honey, I want y'all to get. They see your power. They recognize your power. They know the depths of your power even more than many of us do. They know your strength, which is why they keep trying to deceive you. It's why they keep trying to undermine it. It's why they keep trying to confuse you. It's why they keep lying to you. They don't want you to flex your power. I told you the states we need to focus on. When we are talking about the Senate, if you live in North Carolina, Sky says Jill Stein makes my scalp itch. Ooh, man, you telling me? Oh, Jesus, Lord, have mercy. I know a lot of us are in North Carolina. Show up and show out. Show up and show out. If you live in Ohio, okay? I know a lot of us are in Ohio. Cleveland, show up and show out. If you live in Maine and Iowa, I don't know about how much of us are there, but we definitely in Texas. We definitely in Florida. And Florida's going to be hard because, you know, they got all sorts of shenanigans that be going on in Florida. But these I will vote for Donald Trump people, I sure hope y'all see how much Donald Trump don't care about your ass. Florida. Act right this time. Kentucky, not holding out much hope. Alaska, probably not that much hope. But we just need 4. We don't need to run clean sweep. If we can get 4 of these states flipped, game fucking over. There you go, Sky. He's talking about Ohio here. Columbus, absolutely. Franklin County, there we go. Power's in our hand. Hey there, what's up, Tracy? That's my homie. You're exactly right, Tracy. She said we have to reach out and educate as many of these young ones as well. We sure do. Didn't you right about that, Jerry? We can do this. Protect my man Ossoff in Georgia. Okay, he running for re-election, and it's my understanding it's closer than it should be. So brothers and sisters in Georgia, do what y'all got to do to make sure he gets back in there. Also, New Hampshire, we need to keep that. Okay. We need both. BOAF, both. House and the Senate. This needs to be a cataclysmic wave election in 2026. It needs to be such a humiliating loss that J.D. Vance would not have the nerve to get up in that place and act crazy after Trump is kicked the fuck out. We need to send a message. Absolutely. And to those in Minnesota putting their bodies on the line, I will say that the world sees you. We see you. We see what you are doing to protect your neighbors. And in looking to protect your neighbors, you are protecting this nation. Now, the rest of us, we got to do our jobs too. All right. So with that said, you guys, wonderful seeing y'all today. Once again, welcome to all of my new followers. I am so happy to have you here. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me. We need to make this happen. We need to make this happen. Alliances are being made. I'm loving that because that's what it's going to take, you guys. Power is acquired through not only maximizing your capabilities, it's about being able to strategically put together the alliances that are necessary in order to bring about the overarching change that you need. This needs to be the beginning of that. Republicans in deep red and are pissed off. I'm loving that. David says that Republicans in deep red Indiana are pissed off that Trump tried and failed to bully them into redistricting. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Black men, you need support. More Black women. Yes, I believe that, Cedric. Thank you. And we need to support each other. Black men and women, we are not each other's enemies. Please get off this little trend that we seem to be on right now. Oh my God. And then once again, I also think, because, you know, to a degree, I guess I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm also wondering who started that shit and why? Who does it help? Think about it. Do not allow yourself to be the puppet for people who do not have your best interests at heart. Bam. All right. With that said, y'all have a wonderful Sunday. For those of you like me who have been impacted by the snow, enjoy a nice, quiet, and hopefully warm day inside. And I'll see you guys next time. All right. Take care, everybody. Love you. Take care. Bye.